May 11th, 2023 garden tour. I want to go through some things that I'm doing and show you guys my garden and my fruit trees. So, starting out up here, I have a hookah culture bed that is in dire need of some TLC. I will say one thing, it performed very well for the first couple months that I put it in, but as you can see, I'm dealing with sand here. It's just sand. Being on the east coast of Florida, that's what we've got to deal with. So you have two options. One, amend it every, 6 weeks, 2 months, or you find crops that like sand. Some notable things here. Coneflower really loves it. That one's got a deformed head, but coneflower just seems to flourish here. Did not expect that. For the next couple, hopefully next week, I'm gonna rip all this out and mix in a bunch of compost because I want to try to make this work as more of a traditional hookah culture bed where it's got rich dirt and it retains water down inside, because I've got logs and sticks and branches and mulch, all kinds of stuff down inside there. Work in progress, but I think you'll find the theme, everything's a work in progress. So, we got mangoes here. I transplanted these from a big mango tree down a couple blocks from where I live 2 years ago. And they've yet to flower, yet to fruit. But I'm just now seeing that the mangoes on the daddy tree, mommy tree, they're really tiny, they're really fibrous and stringy. It's been a bumper crop for mangoes this summer. So it has literally thousands, but they really don't taste good. So I will probably take these out or graft them because I want good mangoes up here. I have a premium on space and I have big plans. So this is an allspice tree. Love this thing. And finally, for the first time this spring, it is actually putting on a ton of new growth. Dwarf Malayan coconut palm, golden Malayan, and I will probably rip this out too because it hasn't done absolutely anything. I planted a large variety of wildflowers in this front bed here, but the only ones that have come up are this sunflower variety, and man, they are beautiful. But I was hoping I'd get marigold and zinnia and all kinds of stuff. This is my mango tree, like those aren't. This came with the house, and when we purchased the house, the previous owners had cut it down to just this stump that you can see, and it only had 2 or 3 shoots coming off it. And in the past 2.5 years, I've watered it, mulched it, done everything I can to help it survive, and this is the first time it's really fruited. And man, they're huge. I don't know quite when they're going to be ripe, but I'm excited. I did pick one green one to see if it was fibrous, and it's not. Maybe a little stringy, but really not bad. Strong and healthy. So this is a tropical almond tree. Really cool tree. It's tropical almond. It's in the family of an almond tree, I believe, but the seeds really aren't edible. They're kind of bitter and hard to digest for humans, but I tell you what, squirrels love them. And come end of summer, early fall, say September, about 100 times a day, it's going to drop these big nuts onto our awning. It sounds like someone shooting a gun or a .22. It's kind of hilarious how loud it is. I have cocozelle squash, butternut and acorn squash, and green beans. That is tender green improved, bush variety. This is mostly my winter greens, my leafy greens, and carrots that I've left go to seed. That is butter crunch lettuce. That was a real bumper crop for us this winter. We had so much lettuce. We got 2 zucchini in here, bunch of little stuff, more green beans. I'm starting to put sweet potato everywhere I can to transition into the summer months. Got a Pakistani mulberry hiding in here. Another one that's getting more light and it's just shooting up. Cranberry hibiscus, also known as Florida cranberry or sorrel. That's something that'll be harvested early to mid-fall, so September, October. Again, treating that just like the sweet potato, putting it everywhere I can. The tomatoes are still hanging on a little bit longer, especially for the indeterminate cherry varieties. This is one of two. We've got banana. These are dwarf Cavendish, and it's finally got a rack on it, which I'll show you later. Pink guava, black sapote, also known as the chocolate pudding fruit, Barbados cherry. This is a mulberry that a friend of mine gave me, lives a couple blocks from here. He calls it a Christmas mulberry because it keeps producing mulberries in the fall all the way through till like January. It doesn't really drop its leaves. This is another mulberry I've had for a year and a half, I think maybe 2 years now, and it's a different variety. It drops its leaves pretty quickly. So I'm interested to see how both of these compare once that one gets bigger. I'll probably coppice this one, and I can talk more about that another time, but it's cutting off the top growth and letting it sprawl outward so that it hangs the fruit kind of down just above where animals can reach, but where you can still reach. Instead of it being a bush, it turns it into a tree. So beside it we have papaya, and these are two papaya that I put in 2 years ago, and both of them produced really well, especially this one. I got probably 20 papaya off this, but then it stopped producing, so I chopped it back, I cut it back, and it sprouted out these new growth, and the top just died off, and that kind of gives it a new lease on life. And as you can see with this one, it's fruiting again already. And man, that is some of the prettiest smelling flowers I've ever enjoyed. So let me take you inside the garden proper. Just a quick view of the rest of the yard. I had a big shed here up until only 2 weeks ago. It was 12 by 24 or more, but it was old and rotted. I had dreams to rebuild it and repair it, but it just didn't happen. But God has bigger priorities in life, and that's okay. Now I have space to put in more fruit trees. So that's a dwarf Cavendish pup that I took off this guy a couple days ago, trying to see if it'll live. Sweet potato starts, tons of starts. We got both regular potato and sweet potato in here. More mulberry. This is a Pakistani mulberry. Pineapple, blackberry, loquat, tons of papaya coming up from seed. I've just put in a bunch of Seminole pumpkin here that I intend to transplant probably temporarily into that bed over there. Here are my tomatoes. Most of these are cherry variety. As you can see, you got one coming up in there. Papaya, loquat, eggplant. This is a tropical almond seedling. The squirrels grab them and bury them, and they sprout up all over the yard. You can take them, repot them pretty easily, and sell them for 20 or 30 bucks. The one lone zinnia that made it. I've got a big nematode problem in this corner, so I'm trying to amend the soil with all kinds of compost and get good nematodes in there, and also planting marigold, both from seed and transplant, trying to drive them out of the area because they get into especially the tomato roots, and they just destroy it. It's bad. These are leftovers from the winter. Lettuce. So that's about it. I've enjoyed and I've learned so much over the past year and a half or 2 years since I've really been doing this. I've been gardening in my old house for about 7 years, but I would buy compost and buy good dirt, and I decided when I moved here I don't want to do that. I want to learn how to amend my own dirt, how to work with the dirt that God's given me, the sand, and I want to learn what grows naturally where I am, so that I'm not continually having to fight with trying to figure out how to grow these northern crops, because Florida is a peninsula running north to south. Where you go up to Georgia or South Carolina or anywhere north of that, you can basically grow the same crops that you can in Arizona because they're on the same longitude or latitude. I'll have to look that up. Don't hold me to that. But Florida being a peninsula going south, it's its own climate. We are in many ways very unique from the rest of the country. So you'll find a lot of seed companies that only focus on providing seeds and plants for Florida. And they don't work outside of Florida because Florida is just unique. It's weird. But you can do a lot with it if you figure out what grows naturally here. Seminole pumpkin's a perfect example. So enjoy the video. I hope you enjoyed. Next time I'll maybe show you the chickens and the rest of the yard. Enjoy following along if you will. I'm going to try to do this occasionally, mostly for my own benefit. I don't care if y'all like it or not. This is for my posterity. God bless. Thank you.